Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday night live stream. Today is May 18th, 2025, at least here in Chicago. Maybe it's Monday for other people around the world, but happy Sunday to those who are in Sunday at the moment. Chandra, Zaida, Aisha, Noreen, Put on the Tiara, Dynamite, Gail, Yakira, did I say that right? Universal Being, Sherelle, Juice, Andre, A. Missing anyone else? Sally. Hi, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday night live stream. I want to talk about perfection today. I probably talk about perfection a lot. You probably hear me say imperfect consistency all the time. But today I want to talk about how many of us are always chasing perfection. And if you really think about it, perfection is a myth. I think many of us are trying to chase something that is unattainable. I think many of us are trying to chase something that we think exists and we think we can do it forever. And that just isn't the case. So we'll get into that today. I really want to take some time and go over that and figuring out how all of us here can continue to be successful when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to fasting, when it comes to the way we eat, when it comes to the way we exercise. I think all of those things play a huge, crucial role. Sleep, mental health, all of these things are super important. Lynn, hello. Imperial, I'm just seeing other names in here too. Joy, Debbie, nice to have you all. Welcome, welcome. So today for me, I'm on day 560 of my journey. 80, I was going to say 80 days. 560 days is 80 weeks into my journey. I don't know how many months that is now. Over a year and a half of not only losing 80 pounds in less than 5 months, but have been able to keep it off since then. Yes, there have been some ups and downs, right? Gain some, lose some, but for the most part, I've stayed very consistent when it comes to where my weight is, making sure that I'm always performing cardio, always lifting weights, doing the best I can, both physically and mentally for myself, continuing on the process, bettering myself in all aspects when it comes to happiness and health, right? So I guess maybe just to get right into it, just to show you where I'm at, right? This always shows the wrong thing lately. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. I always have to do this first. I know it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. So I want to just share with you where I have been at for the last 560 days. 80 weeks into my journey, 228 fasts in the last 560 days, which means for the last 332 days, I have not eaten. Fasting has and will always be a big foundation in what I do. For me, and I just said this in the video I posted earlier today, it's not that fasting is the difficult part for me. It's more of my diet. And it's something that I've come to realize over time as I've been doing what I'm doing. But I think even when we talk about perfection, one of the things that's really important to kind of point out here is the fact that to overcome chasing perfection, we have to find out what we're not perfect at. We have to find out the things that give us struggles and how we're going to be able to overcome that. So in the last 560 days, in the last 80 weeks, on average, I've been averaging about a 52.5-hour fast with close to a 6-hour refeed, meaning on average, in the last year and a half, I fast anywhere for a little over 2 days at a time. That number has been coming down as time has progressed, because no longer am I really performing 90+ hour fasts like I initially did. If you're new or you're just new to this channel and you're watching me, one of the reasons that I was able to lose 80 pounds in less than 5 months was because I was performing 90-hour fasts back to back to back. On average, back in the day, 93. I was going to say over 90 hours, but about 93 hours. So nearly a 4-day fast, followed by around a 4.5-hour refeed, and then repeat that cycle for 5 months straight. Since then, that fasting time has tapered off. Since then, it's gone from 90s to around 65s. And on average, like I showed there on the screen, a little over 50 hours. And that number will continue to taper down as time goes on. Why? Because now that the weight is mostly off, I still have, today I weighed in at 147.2 pounds. My goal right now is to hit 130. If you've watched my YouTube videos, the last 2 that I put out, right now I'm aiming for 130 pounds. That is the weight I want to hit. It doesn't mean that I'm going to stay there forever, but I feel like that'll be a really good place for me to then assess, do I need to lose more fat? Should I continue? Well, my goal is to always continue building muscle, or at least keeping the muscle that I have. If you think 130 pounds is too little, because I know sometimes people will be like, 130 pounds, isn't that a little too low for a male? And just, if you're not aware, I'm 5'3", so I'm short. I'm currently wearing boys' clothes at the moment, so I'm not a big guy at all. I used to be a big guy. I used to weigh, at the most, I used to weigh 235 pounds. So currently at 147 pounds, that's nearly 100. Well, no. What is that? I'm just curious now. I'm not the best at math. 87.8 pounds from where my heaviest used to be. So I want to get myself down to 130, kind of see where I'm at, probably do a DEXA scan then, see what those numbers say compared to what my last DEXA scan said, and then figure out what the next move is. So when I talk about perfection being a myth, one of the things that, this is the way I kind of see it, and this is going to tie into chasing perfection. When I talk about, if you think about how you are currently dieting, if you think about how you're currently eating, if you think about how you're currently exercising, the question that I have for many of you is, when you do these things, are you trying to do them in a very structured out way? Are you doing them in a way where you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to fast, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fast for this length of time. And then when I do eat, I'm going to eat just during these hours. And then when I do eat, I'm going to eat only this type of food. And when I exercise, I'm going to do this every single day. And when, first of all, there's nothing wrong with planning things out. There's nothing wrong with putting an outline together, putting a structure together, putting a plan together. But the problem that lies within this is, when we put these plans together, then we think this is the only way it should be, and there is no other way around it. And if I don't complete all of these things day in and day out, then I'm a failure. And I just want you all to understand right now that, number one, you're not. For many of us, the keys to success here is not about doing things in a perfect way, but when things do not go perfectly according to plan, can you consistently show up? Can you consistently be accountable? Can you consistently be honest? Can you consistently find the support that you need? I think those things matter a lot more than having this foolproof plan that you've put out on day one, and then by day three, you find yourself spiraling out. I want to get into the real heart of that. But before I even get there, for anyone who's watching this right now, a question that I have for you that I ask anyone who's here is, are you waiting until Monday? What do I mean by that? I know that it's the weekend. Many of us disregard the weekend at all. When I say disregard, I say we throw out the mindset of, well, I'm not really going to think about the way I eat. I'm not going to think about the way I exercise. I'm not going to think about X, Y, and Z. That's many of us, especially if we have specific plans during the weekend. But what if that specific thing happening on the weekend was just on a Saturday? Does that mean you give up on Friday? Does that mean you give up on Sunday as well? Is that why you're watching right now? Because you need motivation to start on a Monday? Because Monday is going to be your day one? Many of you have heard me say this time and time again, but here we don't talk about day ones. We don't start over. I look at this as a journey that is never ending. When I talk about being on day 560, I'm also very much a hypocrite because obviously there was a day one when I started, and I've had many day ones in my life. What I'm trying to say is if you are that person who is always day oneing, who is always starting over, who is always waiting until Monday, I want you to understand that when you chase perfection, that's what happens. You're always waiting for that next Monday. You're always waiting for the next day one. When instead, what you could be doing is learning from your imperfections, learning from the struggles that you're facing, being accountable with it, being consistent with it, and showing up, especially on the days that you're struggling. That is why I put videos out where I specifically say I'm struggling. It isn't because I'm about to give up. I put those videos out because that is me being as honest and as real as I can be in that specific time and place. When I say I'm struggling, it doesn't mean that I'm giving up. In fact, when I say I'm struggling, that is me taking that vulnerability of me wanting to hide and run away and putting it in the forefront. If you're confused about what that means, and I just speak in this regard to people who might be watching this who have a very similar mindset, Jerome in the past, old Jerome, I'm still old, but Jerome in the past, how I used to deal with these things is it's very easy for me to hide and run away and pretend that, like, for me, it's best in the past, it was best to just ignore all of my life's problems. And the best way I would be able to ignore those life's problems would be pretty much to binge, would be to eat as much as I could and forget about everything else around me. And that type of behavior, that type of avoidant behavior is where my downfall has been for 4 decades. This is something that I have been doing for a long time. And that's why when I'm struggling, that's why when I'm having a hard time, instead of running away, instead of pretending that, oh, you know what, it's Thursday, let me just enjoy the weekend and eat whatever I want and not be mindful, it's a slippery slope. It's the reason that I initially lost all this weight back in 2019, 2020, 2021, and gained it all back months later. It's the reason I left YouTube for 2+ years because I used my old habits of running away. And that's why there's a big gap on my YouTube channel for 2+ years because I gained all the weight back. I felt shameful. I didn't want to be accountable. I didn't want to be honest about myself and what I was doing. And one of the biggest things I've learned about myself today, as I'm on day 560 of my journey, is okay, you're going to have some awesome days. You're going to push hard when you have that motivation. And then you're going to have some days where you're not feeling it. You're going to have some struggle days. You're going to have some days when friends ask you to hang out. You're going to have some days when you go on vacation. You're going to have some days when you feel burnt out. You're going to have some days when you're struggling. The difference from now versus then is now it's all out in public. I put that accountability there because I need to. I need that accountability because it keeps me in check. That is me telling myself, you don't have to be perfect with this. You just have to show up. You have to be consistent. You have to be accountable. So, as I share that message of, are you waiting until Monday? It doesn't mean that, let's say it's Thursday, for example, and on Thursday, your plan doesn't go, your plan. Yeah, your plan doesn't go, your goals, your whatever, doesn't go according to plan. Your day doesn't go according to plan, right? Let's just say on Thursday, your day doesn't go according to plan. It doesn't mean that you have to give up for the entire weekend. If you want to have it more relaxed because it's the weekend, then that's on you. But it doesn't mean that you can't be mindful about your fasting routine. It doesn't mean you can't be mindful about what you're eating. If you're somebody that loses control when it comes to food, then maybe you need to be more mindful about not only what you're eating, but how long you're eating for. Many of us get stuck in a situation where I've been there. Let's say it's a Friday and I binge because that's my behavior in the past. I used to binge, I would binge eat, and I would binge eat, and I would binge eat. And I would lock myself in my apartment and I would order 60, 80, 100 plus dollars worth of DoorDash, Grubhub, whatever, and eat it and just close the world around me. And I lost my train of thought. but what I'm trying to say is like that behavior, the way I used to be in that way, like I would do that for the entire weekend. And then I would tell myself, wait till Monday. Let's just start on Monday. Let's just day one it on Monday. When instead, what you could be doing is, let's say you have a Thursday that doesn't go according to plan and you don't eat the best and it becomes a difficult day for you. All that means then, right, is it doesn't mean that it has to carry over to Friday. If you have plans because it's the weekend, it doesn't mean then you get to just eat whatever you want every single day for the weekend, unless that's what you want to do specifically. But it doesn't mean you have to just put a blind eye to your health, right? To taking care of yourself. That's really the big point I'm trying to put out here for many of us who get stuck in this loop, who get stuck in this cycle. There are many tools that you have, right? Hitting a timer, logging your data. And like I've said many times, right? Being accountable, showing up, being honest about what you're doing, choosing the way you eat, choosing what you eat, the way you exercise, the way you work out, the way you sleep, the way you take care of your mental health. Being happy and healthy is a very multi-layered process. It is something that 560 days into my journey, I'm realizing that every single day I learn something new. That's why I'm very open-minded when it comes to doing different things and seeing what works for me. And if it doesn't, okay, I move on. If it does work, great. Another tool in my tool belt, right? These are things that you can utilize for yourself and figure out and put a plan together and assemble the best tools you can use for the day. Because every day that passes by, you'll probably realize, hey, this is what's working for me now. And maybe that changes in the future. It doesn't mean that what you're doing now is going to be the exact plan for the rest of your life. I think that's really important to share because even though fasting is my foundation, I also realize I can't do 90-hour fasts for the rest of my life. It's not what I want to do. I don't want to do 65-hour fasts for the rest of my life. I always want to incorporate fasting when I need it, especially on days where, let's say, I'm going on vacation for a week. I want to be able to then figure out, okay, let me get myself back in a reset. Let me fast. Let me clean my system out. Let me feel good about getting all the excess food I got in me. Let me reset myself. Let me reground myself. It's playing that balance over time. Wanda with a $20 super chat. Wanda, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the generous donation. As always, I appreciate you. Wanda with the $20 donation says, I too have jumped on the sugar diet bandwagon. There we go. A couple of mornings, I had half a cup of blueberries with a dollop of honey. 3 days, I added some beets. 24 hours into a 42-hour fast, down 2 pounds without my regular exercise. See, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Wanda, again, thank you for the $20 donation. I appreciate you so much. This is something I talked about last week as well, right? Sugar fasting can be interpreted in different ways. It is a useful tool from what I have seen. Is it a tool that I have practiced at this moment? Well, there was the one day I ate one apple and that was it. But right now, fasting, it takes precedence over what I'm doing. Right. But like, even in this regard, so like with what Wanda's saying here, Wanda decided to have half a cup of blueberries with a dollop of honey, right? A couple days later, added some beets, is using that in conjunction with a fast on top of that, right? Like mixing these tools together, figuring out what works. Does it mean that this is going to be the way it is for the rest of her life? I don't know. My guess is it will probably change over time, but Wanda seeing what works, if anything, right? And this is Wanda, again, thank you so much for the donation. The way I look at a lot of this is I want to use these tools to my advantage. I want to figure out what works for me. I mean, here's one of the, for me, on that one day, I fasted only for 14 hours and I ate an apple. After I finished eating that apple, I was like, wow, that actually curbed hunger there. I feel good. I feel like I can push on with this fast. And that was it. It is now a tool that I get to use in the future. The next time I have a very big craving, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like, I'll have a couple pieces of fruit, see how I feel. If it triggers me and it causes me to go overboard and eat a bunch of chips and pizza or whatever, my guess is it isn't, because I've now put this into practice and it's actually worked. Even better. One of the things I've talked about too on my last video that I just put out today, if you had watched it, if you haven't, it's fine. But I refed a couple days ago. And on that last refeed, when I refed, I told myself, okay, Jerome, you had this apple a couple of days prior. You had it in the afternoon when you normally don't eat in the afternoon, and you were able to stop eating and continue fasting. So I told myself, when I refeed tonight, try as hard as I can to just eat without pushing it to 6,000 calories, 7,000 calories. And if you watch that video that I just put out a couple hours ago, I was able to do a 2,500 calorie refeed after doing a 57-hour fast. That is unprecedented for me. That is something that I typically do not do. That is me taking control of something that I have never had real control of before. That's a big win for me. There's a lot of new wins for me over time. Jerome on day 1 versus Jerome on day 560, would I have been able to do that on day 1 to just control my calories that way? Most likely not. Would I have been able to do that on day 50, day 150? Probably not. Look at the struggles I have been going through for the last 560 days. Yes, I have gotten the weight off. Yes, I have been very imperfectly consistent, but the diet part has always been the difficult part for me. I feel like I'm only at this place right now because every single day I show up. Every single day I tell myself I should be imperfectly consistent rather than chasing perfection. Yes, there are some days where I will absolutely push hard. It doesn't mean I'm chasing for that perfection. Just because I have completed X number of 65-hour fasts in a row, just because I was able to do the 65-hour challenge for the month of April and do back-to-back 65-hour fasts, it also doesn't mean that I guess what I'm trying I guess what I'm trying to say, right, is like that perfection, it's not perfection in that way. That's more I'm pushing hard because I have the motivation to do so. The fact that I'm currently on a 65-hour fast right now and I'm not planning to break until tomorrow until I do a 90-hour fast, that's just because I have the motivation right now to do it. When that motivation is weaning, when I start feeling huge hunger cravings, I now have a backup plan, right? And that backup plan is to have something small and see how it makes me feel and make sure that it doesn't trigger me to overeat or binge. And every single time I do that, that continues to be a win for me. Every single time I do that, that builds discipline in me. Every single time I do that, that builds a new routine, that builds a habit. It's making me realize that, yeah, maybe I don't need to fast this long every single time. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I could do a 42-hour fast and then an OMAD for 2 days, and then maybe another 42-hour fast, and then a couple more OMADs, or even a 16/8, or eat back to back days because I'm going out for a weekend trip and using all the tools and resources I have to get myself back to where I need to be. Do not make a specific way of eating. Don't make fasting. Don't make, you can't make these things your identity. You can't. What you need to do is use these tools to the best of your ability. That is the best way I can really explain this. This is why there is no perfect way of doing things. It's just a matter of seeing what's out there, right? Because if you think about life and you think about, for example, for me, right? It's May 18th right now. I have plans on June 1st. On June 1st, I'm probably going to be eating the entire day. I'm not going to be able to incorporate fasting on that day. I'm not going to be able to incorporate a type of eating on that day because I'm going out that day. I'm doing things that day. It's going to probably be an entire day of eating. But what I can do is figure out what I'm going to do after that. What I can do is figure out what I'm going to do before that. And it isn't chasing perfection. It's just living your life and using the tools and resources that are readily available to you. Later in June, I was going to say I'm leaving the country. Well, technically I am. I'm just going to Canada. But I'm leaving the country in June for 5 days from the 20th to the 25th. That's going to be a really big test for me because as I'm continuing to now learn how to eat better and limit calories and be a little more mindful instead of just eating the entire day, I'm going to have to figure that out because I don't want my weight to swing in huge ways, right? I want to be able to start really figuring it out using the tools I have. I have more to speak about when it comes to chasing perfection, but I guess before I do that, and before I switch to something else really quick, I just want to remind everyone about imperfect consistency, right? When I talk about imperfect consistency, all I'm talking about is you don't have to chase perfection in this way. You don't have to do something perfectly. And if it doesn't go according to plan, it's an absolute failure. That is not what this is about. We are here to be accountable. The reason I have these Sundays every single Sunday is because I need to be accountable about what I'm doing. I need to be honest about what I'm doing. I need to be transparent about what I'm doing. Whether you agree with what I do or not, that's fine, right? Because my journey is my journey. Your journey is yours. Sometimes people will watch me and be like, Jerome, I want to do 90-hour fasts and I want to eat 4 hours in that time frame. And then I'm like, do you really want to do that for 5 months in a row? Do you really want to eat 6,000 calories like I do? Do you want to walk an hour a day when you're 70 something hours fasted? Answers to that are most likely no. Most people aren't going to be able to do that for that long, right? And that isn't saying that you can't. All I'm saying is my journey is mine, right? The reason I fast for 90 plus hours back then is because of the way I eat. I had to figure that out on my own. As time has gone on, I figured out different ways of doing things, right? You saw me do strict carnivore. I've tried to do the sugar fast, but outside of just eating one apple, that's as far as I've gotten at this point. It doesn't mean that it won't be something I'll implement in the future, but right now, fasting, it's still a very useful tool for me. Fasting is difficult, especially when you do prolonged fast for this long. But I'm at this fasting in what I'm doing, right? It's reversed my type 2 diabetes, my high blood pressure. It's gotten the weight off. I'm energetic. I feel good. I'm doing this live stream right now while I don't know how many hours fasted. Oh, stupid ads. I hate, 0. I'm 67 and a half hours fasted and I'm fine, right? I'm at a place right now where I'm about to, we'll call it leveling up, right? I'm at this place right now where I really want to optimize. I really want to nail down the diet part. I really want to get good at that. I'm good at the fasting part. I'm decent at the exercise part. I probably need more refined training when it comes to lifting weights. Maybe that's something I look at down the future, right? But I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to optimize. And when I get down to 130 pounds, right? And that's not even saying if, because I know I'm going to get there. I know I'm going to get down to 130. When I get down to that goal weight, I really hope that my diet is in a better place. I really hope that all my other tools are still very strong. I need to keep showing that. I need to keep getting better at what I'm doing because I don't want to do 65-hour fasts for the rest of my life. I don't. Do I want to incorporate them every now and then? Absolutely. Do I want to put an extended fast under my belt every now and then? Absolutely. But I don't want to keep doing 65, 90-hour fasts, eating 6,000 calories, repeating that process. So right now, I'm trying to find a middle ground here. I'm trying to learn how to eat better. I want to see if I can not fast for as long, maybe do a 20-hour fast and eat normal that day, or eat at a caloric deficit. And then maybe the next day I have a regular refeed where I will eat 4,000 calories. But it's playing around with these things and figuring it out. Remember, don't let fasting be your identity. Don't let a specific type of way of eating be your identity. When we do that, it becomes detrimental, right? Because then you feel like this is the only way that it's going to work, right? And in a way that's kind of like chasing perfection. And right, this isn't a knock on any type of eating. This isn't a knock on fasting. These are all great tools that you should be using. Use it to your advantage. Use it for as long as you can, as long as it's giving you the benefits. Don't forget to get your blood work done and make sure that things are okay, right? Don't forget that it isn't just about the weight on the scale. It's also about how you feel, how your health is. Does it give you energy? Are you right? Can you live a normal life doing it? Is it sustainable? Can you be consistent doing that? That's why if you look at what I do, I can't tell people to just do 65 or 90-hour fasts forever. I'm able to do it because I think I'm built differently. I think maybe it's part of how my brain works. It's the same reason I eat 6,000 calories. It's the same reason when people ask me, Jerome, don't you just go to the bathroom like crazy after a refeed? No, some days, but most of the time I'm okay. I'm built different. So are you. You work differently. You have to figure out what works for you. Okay. I want to go and I showed you my current fast. I want to do fit check. We'll do fit check. Um, and my lighting is a little off, so I'm going to try to, okay. If you're unfamiliar with what fit check is a segment of this live stream where, and I'm trying to find the slide as I'm talking to, where is the slide? Here we go. Fit check is where I stand back here and I show you where I'm currently at physique wise, whether I'm bloated, whether I'm up 10 pounds or I'm feeling lean. I want people to, I do fit check because I think it's really important for me to be accountable and transparent in that way. It helps me continue on my journey and it holds me accountable. That's really what it does for me. With that being said, when it comes to fit check, I just want to remind many of you here that I have been an overweight child. There's a lot of kid pictures of me. Teenager. I don't know where my other teenager photos are. I know I have them, but like, I think this is when I was 18 or 19 here. I mean, you could probably tell with this old Sony digital camera. I think I was wearing is it an Nietzsche? I can't remember how you pronounce that hat on. And I think I was wearing I think that's a Fat Farm hoodie. Anyway, that's par for the course during that time. Adult, right? In my 20s, morbidly obese in my 30s, 20s as well. Wearing a size 38 waist, wearing a double XL shirt. And I say all of that because that's been me for 40 plus years. I'm at this place now where I don't wear double XL shirts. I don't even wear extra large. Well, this is an extra large, but this is an extra large boy shirt. This is a youth shirt. So we'll do fit check. I just want to give that background for people who might be unfamiliar with where I was at and where I currently am at now. 560 days in my journey. So as I say 560 days, I want you to remember I've been at this for over a year and a half, keeping the weight off. So we'll do fit check. Just to give you an idea, right? This is a extra large boy shirt. I actually just got this recently. It was like $5. That's also a very big bonus about boys' clothing is it's cheap. Extra large shirt. These shorts are extra small. This is an adult, but an extra small, and it's still there's still room there. But fit check, everyone, right? Side shot, back. So that is me right now, 67 and a half hours fasted at 147.2 pounds. It makes me wonder what this physique looks like at 130, which would be a 17.2 pound drop from where I'm at right now. Maybe you didn't notice, but I mean, you might be like, well, how are you going to drop another 17 pounds? But I want you to understand, right? Like I still have, like, I can grab at this fat, right? Like most of this fat is still like on my belly here. So I do have weight to lose. It's not like I don't, right? I mean, if I look like death at 135 or 130, then, maybe I wouldn't go that far. But for now, I feel like I'm pretty lean, but I know I can lean out some more. Is it another 17 pounds to lean out? That I don't know. But I'm 5'3". And if you look at the height and weight charts, I mean, right now it says me at 147 is overweight, which is a little wild to me. But I was like, okay, well, maybe that's what the charts say, but maybe I have more muscle. I don't know. Anyway, I do know though, I have more weight more excess fat to lose. So we'll see what that looks like. I was not going to talk about this, but um, there's a client I work with that's like, you don't have to talk about your skin every single time. My loose skin, but I feel like it's an important thing to talk about. So I'm sorry, you know who I'm talking to here, but um, people do ask me, Jerome, do you have loose skin? Yes, the answer is yes. I have loose skin here on my neck, right? Like right here. For those who are wondering, I am 44 years old. So maybe part of it is age. Maybe part of it is the fact that I used to wear, I can't remember what size neck I would wear, but I talked about this before. When I would have to go to a wedding and I'd have to wear a dress shirt because I weighed 225, 235 pounds, I would have to wear a dress shirt that could still fit my neck, but those would end up being so big because I'm 5'3" and short that the sleeves would be way past and everything would have to be tailored because the dress shirt would go down to my knees because I'm so short. Those were the hardships I had back then. I just say that though because my neck has gotten a lot smaller since I used to weigh 200 and I'm trying to see here if I have a photo. I mean, it's too hard to tell here. I mean, here you could probably see how big and this is me when I was like 18 or 19. I mean, it's been like that for a while. Um, you could probably see it here. Anyway, I guess I just say that, right? Because sometimes people wonder about the loose skin and I'm just like, yeah, I don't really, there isn't much I can do about it outside of plastic surgery. People talk about dry fasting. Maybe it's something I'll try, right? Like that's another tool that I want to take a look at. Dry fasting, I perform dry fasts. If you think about it, if all of us perform dry fasts, if you go to sleep, you're literally not eating or drinking. So you're dry fasting. For me, I just extend that time. Usually what I do is 2 hours before bed, I won't drink anything. I'll sleep. Let's say I sleep for 8 hours. I don't drink anything 2 hours prior. I'm 10 hours dry fasted. If I wake up the next day and I go for a walk without drinking anything, I could be 12 hours dry fasted, 13 hours dry fasted. So I do perform that every now and then. But outside of that, I haven't done anything extended in that regard. But it is something that I practice. It is another tool that I use. I want you to remember everything that I'm doing, I do it because I want to see what works and what doesn't work and what works for me, right? I think it's important to have those tools and use them to your advantage. Loose skin, right? Like I said, on my neck, I do have them on my upper arms, on my lower belly, on my upper inner thighs. One of the reasons I strength train and lift weights is I like the aesthetic look. I kind of, even though I'm short, I still want to look like I don't know. I think, right? To me, I like the visually aesthetic look. I want to look like I lift. I want to kind of have a V shape, although that's, I don't know, it's probably a far way from now. Maybe as I continue to lean out, right? But it's one of the reasons I like lift. It's to help the loose skin that's like under the arms here, right? So I'm doing flexing just, but yeah, it's one of the reasons I do it, right? Um, so yeah, that's fit check, everyone. That's fit check. Uh, so I wanna just touch on a couple things when it comes to perfection and why we shouldn't be chasing perfection. Why perfection is really just a myth. It's something that you shouldn't be chasing because it isn't something that exists. It might exist in our head. We might think we have the perfect plan, but that perfect plan can only last for so long before you either get tired of doing it, before something gets in the way, before something in life happens. And it's really important to just show up and practice imperfect consistency instead. There is a lot of pressure when it comes to being perfect because I think on social media, we see a lot of people talk about it's crazy to me that there are some influencers that are out there who make their lives look like it's perfect. It's crazy when it's like life just is, life just doesn't work that way for most of us. I mean, I'm guessing even for other people who are online, right? Like all they show you is the good stuff that's happening all day, every day. And it's like, do you really go on that many vacations on those tropical islands all day? How much money do you I'm going off on a different tangent there, right? But like perfection in a lot of this, it's unrealistic. And not only is it unrealistic, but it's counterproductive. What do I mean by counterproductive? You probably know what I mean by that. When I say counterproductive, I'm talking about the all or nothing thinking. When you are trying to do something perfectly, it doesn't go according to plan, and then you do the nothing part. You go from the all to the nothing. And then it becomes counterproductive, right? Because now you're going from, I'm going to fast this long, I'm going to eat this way only, I'm going to exercise this way. And then the moment it doesn't go according to plan, now you're doing the opposite of all of it. You are now in a spiral, you're spiraling out, you have no control, right? You get yourself in this place where you shouldn't be. Imperfect consistency, I mean, I've been talking about this for a long time, but I do believe that is like many other things I say here, it is not only a healthier approach, but it is your key to success. Practicing something imperfectly consistent is a way that you will find success in what you're doing, because then you give yourself a little leeway to give yourself grace, but at the same time, push yourself hard when you need to or when you want to. I'll say this again because I think sometimes people think, Jerome, I don't want you to tell me to take it easy on myself. Nobody's telling you to do that. In fact, if you want to push, push. If you want to push hard, push hard. You want to do a long fast? If you can healthily do it, do it. You want to eat a certain way and eliminate X whatever macro, do it, right? If that gets you success, do it. Do the fuck out of it until you get down to where you need to be. All I'm saying is if it doesn't go according to plan, you don't throw it away. You don't say, okay, day one. Okay, I'm going to start over. Okay, I'm going to wait till Monday. Oh, you know what? It's May 18th right now. I'm just going to wait until after Memorial Day. Oh, you know what? Memorial Day is on the 26th. So I'm just going to wait until June 1st. It's that type of behavior that is going to be your downfall. That is why practicing imperfect consistency is the healthier approach. It gives you an opportunity to give yourself grace without feeling shameful. Some of you might not want to admit that, but I think it's important to understand that you don't have to feel shameful in not doing what you say you're going to do. There's nothing wrong with being imperfect. There's nothing wrong with struggling. That is part of the journey. I'll say it again. That is part of the journey. Your journey is going to have imperfections. Your journey is not going to just be this like sky high. I'm where I'm at right now. I'm never going to fail again. Your journey is going to have ups and downs, and it's fine. What matters, and I say this a lot, what matters are the actions that happen after those imperfect days, after those days you give yourself grace. What matters is you don't find yourself now spiraling out. What matters is, can you go ahead and push again and move forward in what you're doing? I'm looking at my notes. I was trying to like do it while like keeping the flow on, but maybe the last thing here is and I think this is really important, is to really celebrate the small wins. Every small win, the small ones and the big ones, but celebrating those small wins. And a perfect example is even for me, right? When I talk about sugar fasting or the sugar diet, that day I had an apple at like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. or whatever time it was, and then cutting it after that, that was, I mean, people might look at that as a small win, but I look at that as a huge win because typically for me, if I eat anything, it opens the floodgates. If I eat anything, I will then go insane and eat 4, 5, 6,000 calories. But on that specific day, just on that day, I was able to eat an apple. It took about 15 minutes. And then that was it. I was like, oh, I feel good. I'm going to start my timer again. And I told myself, if you want to eat later in the evening, eat later in the evening, but make sure you eat something clean. But I had no desire to. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm good. I got some extra calories in me. I feel a little more energetic at this point. And then I was able to fast until I refed properly. And then when I refed properly, I said, okay, let's try this again. I ate 2,500 calories and kept at a very good caloric limit. Those are huge wins for me. Those might be smaller wins for other people, but for me, huge. And those are moments for me to celebrate because it made me realize, wow, I could probably eat earlier in the day without it triggering me. I could eat 2,500 calories and it didn't trigger me. I actually ate those 2,500 calories and felt really full at the end of my refeed. And it gives me hope that in the future, I could probably fast for less. I could control my calories better. And I could eat in a healthier way. I don't know. It might not be a big deal to some people, but for me, I really look at that as a big win. It's totally a big win for me. The journey, my journey, your journey is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about learning about yourself. It's about learning from your mistakes. It's about showing up when you don't want to show up. And here's the thing about showing up when you don't want to show up. It doesn't mean that showing up means now you got to get back on a super long fast. It doesn't mean that you have to go and run 10 miles. When I talk about showing up, if you work with me and you do coaching with me, it means you show up to your session. It means you have a conversation even though you had a bad week. Instead of postponing, instead of not showing up, instead of canceling, instead of hiding or running away. The hardest moments, the days that you want to hide, the days that you're scared to have a conversation, the days that you want to forget about the bad day that you had, those are the times to show up. Those are the times to be here. Those are the times to have an actual conversation. The more I do this, the more I realize when I talk about fasting not being difficult for me, I mean it. At the same time, it's also made me realize that for me, when it comes to fasting, a lot of it is psychological. It is so much more a mental game than anything else. Many of these days, I am not physically hungry. It is because I am bored. It is because I want comfort. It is because I know what it's like to get that dopamine hit or that boost of endorphins. I know what it's like to lay on this couch, watch the playoffs. I'm talking about the NBA playoffs, and dream about just eating something that gets delivered to me because I don't have to cook anything and I'm going to eat the most unhealthiest thing ever. I get that. I'm also aware that doing things like that is just, that's not the place for me anymore. I want to have those moments, but I don't want to have those moments by myself. When I think about that, I think about my binging days. I would rather have those moments when I'm out with friends, grabbing a couple beers, eating wings, eating mozzarella sticks, having pizza, right? That's kind of how I look at my life today. I want to be able to celebrate those kind of more joyous moments of eating and not associating it with immediate comfort, immediate boredom. I want to be able to celebrate it in a different way. I think you're going to realize as I continue on with this Road to 130 series, you're probably going to see other aspects of my life where I'm going to be talking about a lot of this. I don't, you just have to wait for that. You'll have to wait for that. Um, Sherry with a $5 super chat. Sherry, thank you for the support. As always, Sherry, it's so good to see you. Sherry with the $5 super chat says, even if it's the placebo effect, if it works, it works. There you go. Can't wait to hear your thoughts after giving it more time. Thank you, Jerome. You're very welcome, Sherry. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the donation. I think for many of us, it's not just about, I mean, it's one of the reasons I'm so big about community. It's one of the reasons that I talk about how important it is to show up. I don't do this because, like, I look at these Sunday night live streams as a way to be accountable. That's why they're accountability live streams. I do this because I think the community can be very strong in working together and helping each other. I always talk about how this is a safe space, and I absolutely want to make sure it stays this way. We all have different ways of finding success. We all have the same ultimate goal is to either lose weight, maintain your weight, and be happy and healthy. And be happy and healthy in who you are and what you're doing in your life. That is That is my goal. That's my ultimate goal. And my goal for, not my goal, but my hope for any of you who are watching this right now is exactly the same. It's to be happy and healthy in what you're doing, to feel like what you're doing doesn't feel like torture, that it can be sustainable, that you can be consistent with it. That is the goal. That is the aim that I'm always trying to find for myself every single day. And it has been, in a lot of ways, it's been a difficult path for me. The diet part, look at where I'm at. I'm 560 days in. I'm 80 weeks in. It's taken about that long to start figuring out the diet part instead of just eating 6,000 calories every single refeed. Does it mean that I'm never going to eat 6,000 calories again? You know that's not true. You know I'm going to have those moments, but I want to see if I can make them less frequent. I want to see if I can start really working on the diet lever instead of saying, okay, Jerome, fast for another long amount of time and then figure out the next part. That is why I'm being very open-minded when it comes to other ways of eating. It is very hard to change the way I think, though, which is why I'm still fasting the way I'm fasting. But I feel good about it and it works for me. And as long as the weight continues to go down and I feel energetic and I feel happy and healthy, I can't complain. Spike. So I just glanced at the message. Spike with a $10 super chat. Spike, it's so nice to see you. Thank you for the generous support. I appreciate you. Spike with the $10 super chat says Jerome to 130 before GTA 6. Let's hope so, because GTA 6, what is it? June? Is it June 2026, I think, is coming out? If I were to guess, when I get down to 130, okay, I need 17 pounds to drop. And I know losing these last 17 pounds is going to be a lot harder than when I was 220 or more than that, losing it then. When I was able to lose over a pound a day. I think even in the first 50 days or so, I think I lost around that much weight every single day. I wonder how long it's going to take me to get down to 130, but I guess I shouldn't play that game either, right? It isn't about how quickly I can do it, but it's more, can I continue with a downtrend? I think a big test for me is when I'm going to Canada in June 20th to the 25th. And can I make sure that while I go on vacation for those couple days, that I don't go overboard, that I don't swing too high in weight? Maybe by that time, which is only a month from now, as I continue working on the way I eat and limiting my calories, and I'm just hoping I can be better about that. Anyway, Spike, thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. So with that being said, everyone, I want to go ahead and switch over to Q&A. If you have any questions, I will answer as much as I can. I will answer them to the best of my ability. I want to remind people I don't know everything. I don't. All I can share with you is my experience with what I've done and how I do things, but please feel free to ask and I will answer what I can. While you are asking questions, I'll just put this out there. If you are looking for help when it comes to weight loss or fasting or accountability, you can go to finallyfasting.com. I do one-on-one coaching sessions. You'll do exactly, or what we would do is exactly what you're seeing right now. We'll be sitting on a Zoom call. I'll be talking to you just like this. We can talk about where you're at, what your goals are, if you're looking for accountability, if you have questions when it comes to putting a plan and a strategy together. So please feel free to check out finallyfasting.com if you have any, or if you want to book a one-on-one session with me. At the same time, you can also go there. I do offer merch, just in case you're wondering. I do have stickers here, which look like this on my, well, I have them on my notebooks, right? You can go there if you're looking for that. I do also offer hats that I wear. This is a Cubs one. This is a White Sox one. I keep turning this the wrong way. Finally Fasting on the side. They're both snapbacks. Again, White Sox, Cubs. So you can check finallyfasting.com if you want to help support. I'd appreciate it. At the same time, if you go to the link in my description, if you want to join in on the autophagy live streams, I do Wednesday night live streams every Wednesday night. Not every Wednesday night, 3 times out of the month. I do Wednesday night live streams where we have a community or a communal coaching session. So it isn't just me talking. We go over a communal spreadsheet. We share what our goals are for the week. If you're interested in that, you can take a look at the link in the description. We meet 3 times a month every Wednesday night, sometimes more than that. I think at this point, I've done 4 or 5 in a row. So check it out if you like. So I'll answer any questions. If not, maybe we'll wrap this up early, but let's see. So thank you, Sherry. That's very kind of you to say. Muhammad says, dry water? What's dry water? Maybe I missed something else here, Muhammad, unless you're being a smart ass, but you let me know. Fei says, do you mostly drink water while you're fasting? No, I do a mix. I will drink water. I'll drink iced coffee, black. I'll drink unsweetened iced tea. Sometimes I'll drink sparkling water. I think I have sparkling water right now that's pineapple flavored. I will also have an occasional 0-calorie drink like a Diet Coke or a Sprite Zero or a Diet Root Beer even. So that is what I drink. It isn't like that every single day, but Fei, what this means for you too is if you're wondering about that, maybe what you need to do while you're fasting is to just try it out and see if it works. See if it's something you enjoy doing. If you decide, and again, right, it doesn't mean that you have to drink it every day either. All it means is try it out, see if you like it. If it works for you, great. If not, you don't have to do it forever either. So hopefully that helps, Fei. Discovering My True North with a $10 super chat. Discovering My True North. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. Discovering My True North with a $10 super chat says, hi, Jerome. I just booked a session with you. I'm messing up my words there. Discovering My True North says, hi, Jerome. I just booked a session with you for tomorrow. I was devastated Friday because my surgeon canceled my knee surgery. Oh, goodness, because my A1C was too high at 8.1. So I'm looking forward to a reset with you. Discovering My True North. I know we've talked before, so let's have that conversation. I mean, it's number one, it takes a lot for you to share that here in front of everyone who's watching this. So I appreciate the transparency. Hopefully it's helpful for you to even just kind of get that off your chest, right? To be able to share that. I'm sorry to hear about the A1C being at 8.1, but let's have a conversation. Let's get you down to where you need to be. when it comes down to that, or when it comes to the A1C. So I look forward to our conversation tomorrow. Discovering My True North, thank you for the $10 super chat. Again, right? I hate hearing about that news, but at least at least you got that news now, and you know that you can do something about that. So we'll have a conversation about that. So again, thank you for the super chat. Look forward to speaking with you. If people are curious, right? For me, as a type 2 diabetic myself, if you're unaware, I've been a type 2 diabetic since I was 22 years old. I'm 44 now, so I've been a type 2 diabetic for over 20 years, 22 years. About 2.5+ years ago, my A1C was at 9.9. That was the last A1C I got before I got back onto my journey. And then since then, after I lost the weight, I've gone to the doctor twice now, and my A1C is optimal, which is great. And it's been done without medication, without any type of surgery, without any kind of pills or anything like that. No injections, right? None of those things. I've been able to get my blood sugar under control, my blood pressure under control through fasting. But let's be real, it isn't just fasting, right? It's fasting combined with better eating, combined with the exercise that I'm doing. So discovering my true north, I look forward to having a conversation tomorrow with you about it. So appreciate you being honest and sharing with us. Thank you so much. Tanya says, my question is above. Tanya, let me see. Oh, okay. Tanya says, I fasted 4 years ago and lost 20 kilograms. The second I got sad, I gained it all back plus another 10 kilograms. Every time I start again, I fail. How do you push through the hunger waves? So I guess the first question for you, Tanya, and I'll answer the question there too, but like for you, when you say every time I start again, I fail, is it because you're pushing too long of a fast? Have you considered doing something even in a, let's say, 16-hour time frame, right? Have you considered what it looks like when you do break, how you are eating? Are you overeating? Are you binging because you're in that all or nothing mindset? You're in that black or white thinking. How do I push through the hunger waves? For me, like I said earlier, a lot of it is psychological. I feel lately, especially with where I'm at right now, I feel very motivated because I'm accountable. I have to show up for you, Tanya. I have to show up for everyone who's on here. I have to show people that I can do it. Interestingly enough, that is kind of what motivates me to keep going. Because in a way, all eyes are on me. I put a video out or a series out that says the road to 130. You can sure as hell know that I'm going to do as much as I can to get to that and to stay there and to find a way to be happy and healthy and not feel like I'm torturing myself to get to this point. So a lot of it is an accountability piece. For you, Tanya, it could be many different things. It could be the all or nothing mindset that might be stopping you. You trying to do something too hard instead of giving yourself some grace and practicing imperfect consistency. Maybe what you need is some accountability to keep you grounded, to let you know that like, hey, I'm not doing this by myself, right? Maybe there's support that you need. Maybe you need an accountability partner. Like I said earlier, if you need coaching, that's something that we can have a discussion about. But that's kind of how I push through the hunger waves. Maybe you've heard me say this before, maybe you haven't, but for me, on the days that I'm fasting, they're non-negotiable days. I get up and I'm like, I'm not eating today. Today's not an eating day. Or if I do decide to eat, I've told myself now, if I'm going to eat on a day that isn't a fasting day, or if I do decide to eat on a day that is a fasting day, I'm going to eat clean. I'm going to make sure that I limit my calories. I'm going to make sure I do the best I can on that day and then push forward after. So maybe that's what that means for you, Tanya, is maybe on those days you're really struggling, if you know that you can't go any further, maybe it means it's a really good clean eating day, because maybe that's going to be easier than just fasting that entire day. That's maybe the best way I can put it. I'm sure there are other people in chat here that can help with that too. So I appreciate the question. Congrats on losing that weight, but like gaining that weight back, I know is difficult, especially even putting more on. It becomes, in a lot of ways, it becomes devastating. It gets frustrating. I've been there. I know what it's like. I've said this before. I feel like I say that a lot, but for me, one of the reasons I do feel successful is because all eyes are on me. It's because I'm being very public about it on social media. So I can't hide. I can't run away. I mean, I guess I could, but then you'd never see me again. And if you don't see me again, ever again, well, then you know probably what happened. But I've been doing this now for over a year and a half. I'm here every Sunday. I want to make sure I continue to be. So it's really important to me in that way because it's what keeps me in check. Thank you for the question, Tanya. I appreciate you. Did somebody else super chat? Did I miss something? Dandy. Hi, Dandy Dandelion with a $5 super chat. Dandy, I don't think I've seen you here before. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you for the support. Dandy says with a $5 super chat, you've been such a pillar for my intermittent fasting journey. I love that for you. I'm glad that you've been able to find success. When I lose motivation and start slipping, your videos are what I grasp in order to hang on. Thank you. You're very welcome. Dandy, thank you for the support. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad that it's been working for you. I'm glad that I can be motivating in that way. Keep pushing on. You'll have to keep us posted on what your progress looks like moving forward. So keep going. Keep going. I'm glad I can be motivating in that way. Fat Peg says, gonna try cold sugar fast, Jerome. I've talked about this, Fat Peg. I've also mentioned it in my last video and the video before that. So you can take a look, but to give you a short answer, I do want to try it, but I think I'm probably going to implement it in a different way. And the best way I can explain this is as I continue fasting, like I'm doing right now, what I'm going to be doing is when I feel hunger pangs, right? When I get a craving, I just want to eat fruit and I want to see how that makes me feel and then push forward with whatever I need to do next, whether it's to get back on a fast. But that's kind of how I interpret it, or how I interpret it for me, how I kind of want to apply it. I already did this a couple of days ago, but I just had an apple. It's not exactly Cole's sugar fast, but it is something I want to try and see if it's something that works for me. So that's the best way I can put it. Thank you for the question. Wednesday says, so when I start my water fast, I'm fine. But when my kids come home, that's when it gets tough. How could I push through with them eating what they like? This is a tough one, Wednesday, because, right, a lot of this, again, is psychological. If you know you're fine, and when your kids come home and they're eating, like it's such a difficult thing, especially if you want to eat what they're eating. I don't know exactly what they're eating, but maybe it's something that I don't know if it's processed. I don't know if it's the healthiest thing in the world, right? But how could I push through with them eating what they like? I mean, for me, it's a little different because I live by myself. And it's not like there's somebody else that's constantly eating or has to be fed a number of times when I'm home. But there are many instances where I do go out, people are eating, people are drinking, people are doing both. There are times when I go to my mom's and everyone's eating there. I say everyone because a lot of people live with my mom. And people are just, there's food everywhere. And I mean, I've been to family parties, I've been to holidays where I'm fasting on that day. a lot of it is willpower on my end. A lot of it is discipline on my end. But I also tell myself, okay, if I physically feel fine, if I can function, I'm good to go. It just makes me wonder for you, Wednesday, if you do decide to break on those days, even kind of like what I'm talking about right now, I've given myself the opportunity to eat even on a fasting day if I want to, if I get to that point. And by that, though, I mean I'm going to eat super clean. By that, currently, I just told myself if I'm that hungry and I need to break, I'm just going to eat fruit and I'm just going to keep it at that and then move on. So I don't know if you have a backup plan when it comes to that, Wednesday, because maybe that's what I would suggest too. Like, yes, if you have the discipline and the willpower to move through, do it. But if you feel like you have to eat because your kids are eating, maybe it just means you're not eating what they're eating, right? What it means then is you have a backup plan on what you do decide to eat, keeping it super clean. Maybe that's what that backup plan looks like. It might not be the answer you want because you might be saying, but Jerome, I just want to fast. That's the question you kind of have to like figure out is, do you have the discipline to stay fasted and tell yourself, I'm going to be fine today. I don't need to eat today. Or if you are feeling hungry and you are feeling triggered by what the kids are eating, maybe it just means you need to make better choices, right? Or have better choices instead of kind of succumbing to eating what they're eating and then eating some more. Because that might be another issue too, is when you do decide to eat, then you just kind of go overboard, right? And it's kind of figuring out, okay, do you have a proper backup plan when it comes to that? Hopefully that's helpful, Wednesday. Maybe there are others in here that have suggestions as well. So if anyone does, please share. Andre with a $10 super chat. Andre, thank you so much for the support as always. Andre, it's so great to see you. Appreciate you being here. Andre with the $10 super chat says, J-Man, whenever someone brings up a new way of doing something, you never poo-poo it. I don't, because I really think everything is worth considering. Trying it out, seeing if it works. It doesn't mean it has to be forever, but there are reasons that these things come out. You could try them. You can see if it works. You can see if it works for you. You can see if it's enjoyable for you. I mean, if somebody put out a video that says pumpkin pie and cheesecake fasting or the pumpkin pie and cheesecake diet, I would be like, oh my God, sign me up. If you don't know, those are some of my favorite things to eat. Or the Brussels sprouts and Italian sausage diet. Sign me up. Anyway, Andre says, you're always positive and it's really appreciated. I appreciate you for saying that, Andre. Thank you for noticing that. You will get to 130. Victory. I hope so. I hope so. That's my goal. Andre, thank you for the $10 donation. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Let me scroll back up here. Okay. I think I found my place. Sorry, everyone. If you're just getting in and you're just wondering why am I just staring into space, I'm just seeing if anyone else has any other questions. I love that all of you are chatting. I'm sorry that if I missed any questions, hopefully I didn't. So Jacqueline says there's actually a cookie diet, but I think it's like eating only 2 cookies a day and that's all. Well, that doesn't sound fun. If a cheesecake diet was like you can only eat a fifth of the cheesecake, I'd be like, I'll pass. I'm good. I'm good. Sam Unstoppable with a $5 super chat. Sam, so nice to see you. Sam with a $5 super chat says, hey, Jerome, thanks for the coaching session today. You're very welcome. Sam, it was great talking to you today. I don't know if I don't want to put your stuff out there, but I just want to, I mean, I already did this for Sam. Sam, if you want to share with everyone here, but I just want to congratulate Sam on the weight loss. I don't want to say how much because I don't know if that's what you want to share, but like if you want to share that, please share that with everyone here. It's up to you though. But Sam, you're very welcome for the coaching session today. It was great talking to you. I hope nothing but continued success. Please keep me posted on where you're at. But again, thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Sam just shared it. Sam said, go ahead. Sam has lost over 100 pounds at this point. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Sam, congratulations on your success. It's always great to talk to people and work with people who have found success. There are many that I work with who have found their goal weight and who are in maintenance, right? And a lot of that is because they found what works for them, figuring out their journey. So Sam, congratulations again for all of your successes. Keep going, keep going. I love that for you. I love that for you. So everyone, I think that might be it for the questions today. I think we're good here. Well, Wednesday says, what's OMAD? I don't know if you were asking me Wednesday, but OMAD means one meal a day, meaning you're only eating once a day, pretty much. You can look at that as maybe eating for an hour. Some people might look at that as eating for 2 hours. Some people might implement something like a 20-hour fast with a 4-hour eating window. So just something to think about. It's just another way of fasting, just a different type of fasting. Oh, you do one meal a day. Well, there you go. So you're doing an OMAD. I mean, there are things called 2MADs as well, right? Eating twice a day. So just depends. Everyone, I think that might be it for this evening. A couple things before I go. Again, I think it's really important. Oh man, has my volume been okay? My thing looks like that's fine. I'll mess with it later. We've gone this far. It's too far now. So just really quick before we sign off here, I say this every week, but I think it's really important to point out that the weight on the scale doesn't define you. The weight on the scale shouldn't hold any value in that type of way. The weight on the scale doesn't mean that you're worth more or less. I say this because as somebody who weighed as much as 235 pounds, for me, I should have given myself a lot more. I should have given myself a lot more respect for where I was. If I did, it probably would have been better than locking myself in my apartment and feeling ashamed and feeling like I couldn't talk to anyone. It made me feel worthless. And I want people to understand that wherever you're at right now, the number on the scale is the number on the scale. It doesn't mean that you can't keep pushing forward, figuring out what your next steps are, how you're going to be healthier and happier. It's so important to continue to accept yourself, respect yourself, and love yourself for who you are today, not who you're going to be a year from now. It's great to think about those things. It's great to think about the possibilities, but like you got to love yourself for who you are today. I promise you that will help you on your journey to continue accepting yourself, learning about who you are instead of just giving up and saying, it's not worth it. I can't get there. It's about progress, not perfection. All right. I'm currently 68 hours and 20 minutes fasted. I'm going to be breaking tomorrow at probably the 90-hour mark. That was very unexpected. I didn't even think to go that long, but I'm feeling good. No issues right now. I have goals to hit, everyone. It isn't me chasing perfection, but right now I'm just feeling very motivated. Right now, I feel like I can keep going. Tomorrow, when I break, I'm going to try to keep my calories under 4,000. If I can get less than that, wonderful. If I can't, it's okay. If I go over it, it's okay. You're going to see all of it. I'm going to make sure that I continue sharing everything that I am sharing. That is what helps me keep going. I hope all of you who are here in chat today were able to share how you're doing and how things are going. I think that accountability is important. I just want you to remember that you're not alone on your journey. I'm fasting for this long. I'm eating a certain way. I'm exercising a certain way. I just want you to remember that you're not alone on your journey. Look at all the people here in chat right now. Look at what everyone's doing to help each other out. Staying positive for everyone, because I think that's super important. We'll do this again next Sunday. Sound good? At this point, I have 17.2 pounds to lose. I'm on a good path right now. We'll see if I get there. We'll see how long it takes. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats today. Thank you for being here. I'll put more videos out in the next couple of days. Other than that, I think that's going to be me signing off. So, like I said, we'll do this again next Sunday. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great one. See ya.